Bumble's AI dating shift reveals a bigger problem nobody is talking about. Bumble just admitted something most dating apps never wanted to say out loud. Swiping culture is failing. People are emotionally exhausted. Dating feels dehumanizing. And even the companies profiting from modern dating are now trying to rebuild the system. Recently, Bumble announced a major shift away from swipe culture and toward an AI-assisted dating experience, more intentional interaction, and more real-world connection. I think they're responding to something millions of you, have already been feeling for years. But I also don't think technology is the deepest issue here. I think modern dating burnout is revealing something spiritual, emotional, and cultural underneath all of this. Because we were never designed to build intimacy primarily through endless evaluation. And Christian singles, especially, need to understand what's happening right now. Because if we misdiagnose this problem, again, you're going to keep searching for technical solutions to deeply human issues. So in this video, I want to talk about what Bumble's announcement actually reveals about modern dating, why so many people feel exhausted, and why discernment matters now more than ever. The apps didn't fail because they were apps. And I want to say this clearly up front. I don't think dating apps are inherently bad. I don't even think the core problem was technology itself. The problem began when people started expecting technology to do the work of discernment. Somewhere along the way, dating apps stopped being tools for introduction and started becoming substitutes for wisdom. And I think part of that is by design. That's how they were marketed. We'll make this easier for you. People began unconsciously treating dating like a system that could eventually produce certainty if they optimized enough. If I swipe enough, if I filter correctly, if I say the right things, if I build the perfect profile, then eventually I'll eliminate risk. But relationships have never worked that way because discernment has never been able to be automated. Discernment requires observation, embodiment, emotional awareness, community, time, spiritual maturity, and lived interaction. An app can expose you to people, but it can't discern character for you. And it can't tell you whether someone is emotionally available, whether they have the skills of conflict repair, whether they're grounded, whether they're trustworthy, whether your nervous system feels safe with them, whether they're capable of intimacy, and if your lives are going to actually be compatible long term. And I think that this is one of the biggest mindset shifts Christian singles need right now. Dating apps are exposure tools. They are not destiny machines. They create opportunities for interaction, but discernment still has to happen through real human experience. And I think that's where things get deeply hopeful, because it means your wisdom, your intuition, your observations and boundaries and values actually matter in this whole dating thing. You're not meant to outsource your discernment to an algorithm or AI. One of the dangers in modern dating is that many people want outcomes without formation. Healthy relationships, though, are built by emotionally mature people, not just compatible profiles. I think this is where much of the exhaustion comes from. I don't think people are simply just tired of dating. We're tired of performing ourselves. Swipe culture subtly trained people to experience themselves as products, marketable, optimized, consumable, replaceable. And eventually, dating stopped feeling relational and started feeling like a transaction. People learned how to package themselves instead of reveal themselves wisely over time. And those are not the same thing. At some point, many people stopped asking, how do I genuinely connect with someone? And we started asking, how do I become more desirable in the marketplace, more optimized? So now every photo becomes a strategy, as well as every text, every interaction, every connection becomes a strategy, and every rejection feels personal. All the conversations start carrying the pressure of evaluation. That's emotionally exhausting. How could it be otherwise? I think many Christian singles experience this too. Even faith-based dating spaces can quietly become performance driven, but we just slap some spiritual language on it. People learn how to sound spiritually mature, how to be a good spiritual leader, but they're not aware of how to be healthy. Meanwhile, they still feel terrified of being truly known, and that creates the disconnection, because healthy relationships are not built through polished presentation. They're built through congruence, honesty, safety, reality, shared values, emotional presence, not perfect branding. I think a lot of people no longer know how to be emotionally present and open while dating because they've spent years now learning how to be strategically desirable instead. And eventually that creates burnout. Humans were never designed to constantly market themselves in order to earn connection. I don't think people just want more matches anymore. I think they want to feel human again while dating. Discernment requires embodied reality. One of the most interesting parts of Bumble's announcement is that they're moving away from endless swiping and toward more real world interaction, group meetups, and in-person connections. I think that's great. I think that's one of the healthiest shifts that they could make, because eventually, even tech companies are realizing something important. Humans discern people more accurately in reality than in abstraction. You can't fully discern chemistry or emotional safety or all the other amazing character qualities that we're looking for in curated fragments on a screen. Discernment requires data, and real relational data usually emerges through embodied interaction, being with someone on dates. This is why passive dating keeps many people stuck. People are participating in dating, or they think they are, but they're really just consuming profiles or analyzing messages or collecting conversations. And the accumulation of matches is not the same thing as building relationships. Gathering conversations is not the same thing as gathering meaningful relational information. And eventually, many people get trapped in evaluation mode. We're watching, we're analyzing, we're comparing. We'll keep it real. We're overthinking. We're searching for certainty before any actual movement. But discernment usually develops through participation, not hyper-analysis. This is why I often encourage people to move toward reality quickly, directly. Move toward conversation, interaction, observation, toward embodied experience. Because dating gets clearer when you gather real data in real life. And honestly, I think this is true spiritually too. Many people are waiting for certainty before participation. But wisdom often develops through movement. You pray, of course, but you also act and observe. You discern and you adjust. That's how discernment usually grows. AI cannot remove the cost of intimacy, and I think this may be the deepest issue underneath all of this. Technology keeps trying to eliminate vulnerability, but vulnerability is the pathway to intimacy. Every generation tries to make love safer, more efficient, more optimized, more predictable, but intimacy has always required risk. You still have to reveal yourself, communicate honestly, risk disappointment, tolerate uncertainty, risk rejection, become known, and no AI model can remove that. Technology may improve introductions, it can reduce some friction and improve logistics. It might help people communicate more clearly, but it cannot eliminate vulnerability without also eliminating intimacy, because intimacy requires exposure, not performative exposure, real exposure. Emotionally, spiritually, relationally, exposure, having real experiences with people that showcase your ability to regulate yourself, return to regulation, your ability to repair after rupture, what it's really like for you to be a prayerful person, how it really feels to relate to you. I think many people are exhausted because they've been trying to date while avoiding exposure. They want connection without uncertainty, love without risk, intimacy without vulnerability. But healthy relationships have never worked like that, and they're never going to, not between people. That means that our goal for dating is not perfect optimization. The goal is becoming increasingly honest, grounded, courageous, emotionally healthy, and discerning as you participate in relationships. That's very different. I think Bumble's announcement is fascinating because I think culture is finally reaching a really important breaking point with modern dating. Not because people want less love, no, but because people want more humanity. And I actually think that that longing is deeply hopeful. Because beneath all of the burnout, people still ache for connection, presence, safety, meaning, companionship, covenantal love. And I don't think that that longing is a weakness. I think it's God's good design, and I think it reveals something deeply human. Despite all our technology, people still want to be known, still want to be chosen, still want to experience real connection. And for Christian singles especially, I think this matters deeply. Discernment was never supposed to be outsourced to AI or algorithms. Wisdom and character and embodiment still matter. Community and spiritual maturity still matter. And no amount of technological advancement will ever remove the deeply human courage required to love and to be loved. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.